All right, everyone, welcome back once again to this Beefcast presentation in association with IVDYogiTime.com. This is the IVD tournament number 28. All leagues, all divisions, Masters versus Masters level here. PVT. Joining me, Muatauran. Brandon, how's it going?
Well, it's as always, it's going well, and I'm excited to see how this map plays out. A lot of Protosses go Nexus first here because it's so big. So, and as a response, a lot of Terrans do kind of a lot of all-ins. So, I don't know, we'll see.
We shall see. Let's get right into it, though. I'll be introducing our player in the bottom right-hand corner, just taking out a Terran on Core Hall Compound on a roll right now. The orange Terran, Hatris.
And his opponent spawning the top right corner, which is probably not where he wants to spawn in position or in conjunction with his Terran. So, a little unfortunate for him, but he's playing the blue Protoss. He is FGElegance. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw Elegance in a team kill scenario a little bit earlier. I don't remember if he won or lost that game. Do you?
He won.
He won
that
that
was
game.
the Antigua game, where he
That's right.
took a lot of damage to drops and then just kind of attacked.
And then built some really good units called Colossi.
Yep, some
And
really
then
good
won the
units that
game.
require 0 micro. Good job, Blizzard.
Yeah, they're really good. So yeah, we already have seen Elegance in a PvT today. Took a lot of damage from drops there on close position Antigua Shipyard. But he was able to make a comeback, like we said, with Colossi, with a little bit superior positioning on one engagement there, wiping his opponent's forces off the map. His Terran opponent did not make the fast enough switch into Vikings, and he just took the game right then, right there.
Yeah, it looks like Hatris might think it's cross only. He's scouting cross positions first here, and he's going to be kind of surprised when there's no Nexus. So, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a mistake from him. I don't think there is a version of this map where you can, or it's only cross only, but...
Yeah, I don't think so. The map is so large, I think that any positional imbalances are a little bit gone. But you'll still hear Zerg's QQ about it all the time. Anytime that a Zerg is not force-crossed, they're going to be crying about it. Because we, Zergs, we like to cry.
It's true. I think this stems from the fact that they were the worst race by far in the beginning of the game. And people like Idra play Zerg, so...
Yeah,
he would cry if he played Terran in the glory days of Terran.
Yeah.
He'd be like, no, Terran's not good enough. I don't win every single game ever.
I was listening to some really old State of the Games a few weeks ago, back when Artosis was actually playing Zerg, and Idra and Artosis in the same cast both playing Zerg. I've never heard more whining in my life.
Oh, dude. And then they made that show.
Imbalanced. Yeah. Oh,
I kind of
God.
miss Imbalanced.
It was a pretty entertaining show. But anyway, let's get back into this game. Command Center going to be coming down here after one Rax gasless fast expansion here from our Terran player, and no Nexus out right now for our Protoss. Going to be playing a little bit safer. Stalker going to get in there and try to deny the scouting information from that SCV, but the SCV did actually see that there was no Nexus down there, giving his Terran opponent a little bit of a scare, forcing that bunker out immediately to prevent any kind of one-base aggression.
Yeah, I gotta say, on a small map, I kind of like this, just really quick double Stalker. But on a big map like this, there's just really no chance you're going to get any damage done. So I think it's not the right build for Antigua, but, Elegance actually obviously likes it, so
yeah,
you gotta do what you're comfortable with.
We did see Elegance earlier on Antigua doing the same build, the double Stalker. And actually, it looks like the Stalker might get run down there. The Zealot going to come in and play a little bit of a line. Oh, man, the lineman failing there. Its quarterback gets sacked as that Stalker does get taken out, taking 2 Marines in exchange, but that is not something you ever want to see happen. With good micro, that Stalker should have been able to put out a lot of damage to those Marines and keep its life.
Yeah, Stalkers are over 3 times the cost of a Marine, so you definitely don't want to trade one for 2 Stalkers, especially so early in the game when a lot of Terrans like to do that, make 12 Marines or whatever and then just try to sneak them into your opponent's base. It really hurts in that position.
And we saw in our last game with Elegance that he did go Robo, once again going to be going Robo right now, producing observers, wants to get that information out on the map as soon as possible, and even one Immortal in the last game. We'll see if he does follow that up. Immortal, very good at dealing with Marauders, not so good at dealing with pure Marine pushes, though. But a pretty good holdover until you can get some splash damage with that Bio Ball.
Yeah, an early immortal, like one immortal, can be okay, even if it's only Marines, because they do. I think they two-shot Marines. No, they three-shot Marines. But I mean, they still do a lot of damage for one unit. The problem is they're 250 minerals, so not really something you want to invest in if you don't need it, but it's okay. You know, not the worst thing ever. We also have the Protoss player here going for one forge, so you know, again, not a double forge build, which is kind of weird. I mean, a lot of Protosses still go with that.
Yeah, and back on the Terran side, dropping that engineering bay in addition to that factory, going to be moving up to that medevac tech very quickly here. Interesting to note that Hatris has actually not added any reactors onto his barracks here, so not wanting to take the time off of production there to really ramp that production up. Instead, wants to get a lot of stuff out very fast here. He could be looking to hit some kind of a timing here with his medevacs and stim finishing in about 170 seconds.
Yeah, medevac timings are awesome. I like them better with upgrade or add-ons. I just feel like if you're gonna not like if you're doing like a 5 gate or 5 racks, then I could see cutting the add-ons because you don't really need as many units right later on. You need them really quick. But in this case, the add-ons would have covered for the loss of production. So I don't know. This is still okay though. It's just going to be less units, faster medevacs.
Well, like you said, with 5 racks, maybe no add-ons, but the reactor is finally getting added here as he does go up to 5 racks, so he's really going to be powering up his production over here. But with the cycles cut out there for those reactors to be added on, in the time being here, it looks like he's not going to want to hit that 2 medevac timing, maybe looking for something like a 4 medevac timing or even 6.
Nope. For sure not, and we see the Protoss player here has started his Templar Archive. He started Charge, +1 armor is almost done, and 2 more gateways have been added on. This is kind of a riskier way of going high Templar. Generally, you want to get more gateways out before you tech this much. One way to do this, but that's also with two forges. He's only going 1 forge at this point, so maybe it's a little different from the build that I know.
Yeah, 5 gates right now, 2 of them just being warped in and getting extremely greedy. That robotics facility already out, working on 1 forge, working on Charge, and the Templar Archives. That is 4 different techs that he's going right here off of only 3 gates. If that Terran player had gone for something like earlier reactors into that 2 medevac push, our Protoss player could very well be dead. But right now, I think that he might be okay as he's starting to warp in some Archons here, as Charge is going to be finished by the time that the Terran gets across the map. But it's really going to come down to positioning. Who's going to have the better engagement here?
Yeah, this actually looks like Charge-Led Archon, so he might... Oh, there's the Storm, okay. I was going to say he might just add on 3 more gates and go all in. That's actually a real possibility if there is no Storm. You can still do that with Storm, it's just a little bit later.
Very nice feedbacks coming out of those
for sure.
High Templar there, even managing to save the Assimilator, and those High Templar are going to be warped into Archons there, as that one Archon is going to come in for the flank, but brilliant force fields, actually trapping a ton of Marines. The hot pickup going to come in, but the very low life medevac there, taking a few shots from the Stalkers, and the Terran going to go ahead and retreat, possibly for right now. I don't think that he has enough army with no energy on those medevacs. All of the units in the yellow and the orange, even a Viking pair are going to be coming out right now, anticipating a switch to Colossi, but that is not the correct tech choice. He's going to be on Storm Tech, and Charge Lots are going to be leading the way over here as they catch a couple of units making their way out on some bad rally points, and the Protoss player are going to be content to retreat for the time being.
Yeah, those force fields were quite nice. I'd have liked a little more units on his side of the force fields, but they let him hold that army, which was kind of scary. Definitely well played. Storm is almost done here, and actually Protoss went for +1 attack before +2 armor with 1 forge, which is really weird. Generally, you focus on armor upgrades in this matchup when you have lots of zealots. If you're going lots of stalkers, like if you're going to go for Stalker Colossus, then you want attack upgrades. But he's got this huge. The point of this army is essentially the zealots tank all the damage, the Archons and the Templar deal it. Zealots really don't care about attack upgrades, and Templar don't get any advantage of them at all. So odd that he's focusing on +1 a little bit more, but it's still okay.
Yeah, he has dropped that second forge. Both players going to be transitioning into double upgrades here momentarily. So that's going to equalize eventually. But yeah, definitely a little bit of an anomaly there. Both players going to be making their way up to 3 base economy. The Planetary Fortress quite a bit earlier over here than the Nexus. So our Terran player going to be able to take a little bit of an econ lead up at 68 SCVs to the 55 probes of our Protoss player.
Yeah, he's also got a good little supply lead, so it's not just the workers he's ahead in, but also the army supply. The difference is, Protoss's tech is out a little bit earlier, and his upgrades are going to be done faster, so he's still okay. Generally, Protoss is going to be down on supply a little bit, but the worker disadvantage is something that hurts a little bit, yeah.
And we do see that the Terran did drop a scan there. Sees a very high energy Templar, something at like 130 energy. So he knows that Storm is most likely out at that point. Going to be able to stop taking out those Vikings. And Mobius Reactor finishing up right here. Ghosts already going to be out on their way.
Did you see the drop that was in the main
I
Protoss?
Completely did not.
He pretty much flew 2 medevacs and a Viking in, and then they just sat there as Protoss's army walked underneath them, and the Archons started shooting. Everything got out, but it was like one of those moments where you're just thinking, wow, is the game going to end right now? Like, you can't lose 2 medevacs and a Viking for free, but it's okay. Whew.
Completely missed that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I missed that. But we do see that a few units going to be loading up into medevacs. It looked like it was a misclick. So he's going to try to unload the... no, he's going for... he can't decide what he's doing. Okay, he's doing a single drop. So, single drop over there. No doom drop coming out just yet. But that's going to be meeting with a little bit more resistance, as an observer is going to be there. And a few stalkers as well.
Yeah, it's too bad he didn't walk forward with those stalkers a little bit earlier. He might have actually got that medevac. The Venomac? Wow.
Venomac.
Anyway,
that sounds terrifying.
It sounds like a Pokemon.
Yeah, but it actually looks like there's going to be engaged right here. Charge Lot's going to be making their way in as a couple of storms do get dropped, getting some nice hits on the medevacs there, but it looks like both players going to be content to retreat right now. A big stim and a lot of damage coming out. One of those Templars, very high energy, going to get sniped. Even a couple of Archons going to fall, but some beautiful storms coming down onto the bio. The bio getting absolutely shredded by that psionic energy as the Charge Lots are coming in to try to clean up the rest of this. One medevac going to be dropping over here into the natural, using that avenue to get those units out of there. But the Ghosts, without that personal cloaking done, only 5 seconds away, are going to be getting shredded here by these Charge Lots. The last Ghost might be able to get a cloak off, but no, he's going to fall as well. A couple of bunkers coming down. They are so late for our Terran player, as our Protoss is just absolutely steamrolling into the natural of the Terran player.
Yeah, this is pretty much going to be, does Protoss do enough damage to negate this drop, which I think he's pretty much already done by killing this orbital, but it could have been really bad for him if a bunch of bunkers had already been up. We also see Terran is kind of trying to hide an expansion over here on the bottom left, but I don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah, Warp Prism is actually scouting all of those SCVs that are coming down at the 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock positions. Archon, Stalkers, Charge Lots, oh my, they are taking out all the infrastructure right now for our Terran player, while those two small drops, completely uncontrolled right now, are just going to work into the natural of our Protoss player.
Yeah, I mean, this might be an okay-ish position for Hatris if he had been controlling those dropships and doing some damage, maybe in the third or something, but, he just let them sit there AFK, and he now just lost them completely one-sidedly, while Protoss has a giant army on his production. This is so hard for Hatris.
Yeah, once you get that onto the production right there, there's no other option but to GG, as we do see it come out of Hatris right there, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, if you can just stand on top of Terran units when they pop out, it's over, man. It's nothing they can do.
Well, once again, a very good game. The second game where Elegance really wins one decisive engagement and then marches right up his opponent's front door and finishes the game right then, right there.
Yeah, for sure. He wasn't, that wasn't, the first game they played, I kind of thought he should have lost. Just, it was a really bad engagement from Terran, and it kind of looked like, his opponent was playing better than him. This game, I definitely think Elegance just outplayed a Hatris.
Yeah, I think I could agree with you.
He just had a really nice engagement and was like, well, it's time for you to die.
Very good game there coming out of Elegance. All right, I've been your casting host, Beef. Joining me, Muatauran. Brandon, any final words before we move on to our next game?
Terrans, you need to scout your opponent's tech.
That is true. If those Ghosts had been out there, like 45 seconds earlier, that could have been a completely different game.
So
all right.
different.
We've been casting for the IVDYogiTime.com tournament number 28. Check them out over at IVDYogiTime.com. Every game cast, every game streamed, every tournament with a prize pool, all leagues, all divisions. Click on an ad once per tournament. Help that funding come in so that we can keep those prizes coming out. But more importantly, stick in with us right here. Stick to watching this stream. We got some more games coming for you. We'll be back soon.
Can't wait.